Hi, my name is Dr. Rajesh Shah. I am a director of Life Force. Today I am going to talk about what should pediatricians know about homeopathy. Well, this is based on a small talk I was invited to give at a leading medical hospital in Mumbai, where the audience was all pediatricians, the doctors belonging to the child disease care. After having given this talk, I thought, let me just share this with the audience and people on the internet and with other many pediatricians in the world. I am going to talk about around 8 points which I think are worth knowing for every pediatrician. Point 1 is that homeopathy is scientifically proven in terms of its bioefficacy. There was a time around 10 years back where there was tremendous skepticism about the benefit of homeopathy or about the effect of homeopathy. Homeopathy has been blamed to be having placebo effect. However, in last few years, there has been significant amount of research which has proved that homeopathic medicines have bioefficacy. I'll talk about 3 or 4 points. One, homeopathic efficacy has been proved in cell line studies. There was a major study at MD Anderson Cancer Hospital Institute in the US where they proved that homeopathic ultra dilutions could alter and reduce the viability of the cells of breast adenocarcinoma. And there are likewise several more cell line studies which have proved the efficacy of homeopathic medicine. Besides, there are certain animal studies which have shown that homeopathic medicines in potency have proven efficacy to bring certain changes in animals. One of the studies was about a nosode prepared and used in mice against certain specific infection. One more study was about the use of certain homeopathic medicines for the treatment of Japanese encephalitis. This was a major study done by one government-based homeopathic institute in India. The fourth point is about clinical trials. There have been several good clinical trials which have proved that homeopathic medicines have definite efficacy. Even at Life Force, we conducted 2 major clinical trials in the areas of HIV and hepatitis C, where we have documented efficacy of certain homeopathic medicines for the treatment of HIV as well as hepatitis C. The fourth point is about the effect of homeopathic medicines on plants. Even several or rather numerous studies have shown that homeopathic medicines in the potentized form have efficacy on improving the yield in plants or in vegetables, and this shows that homeopathic medicines have definite bioefficacy. At this point, it would be worth talking about a breakthrough research by a team of scientists at IIT Bombay in India, which has shown that homeopathic medicines or potencies have nanoparticles, or rather the homeopathic medicines are in the form of nanoparticles or nanobubbles. This is a major breakthrough study proving that homeopathic medicines beyond Avogadro's number have definite medicinal effect, or it has certain particles which are much more than placebo. Point 2, where I would say that homeopathy is similar to vaccinations. The pediatricians all across the world have been using vaccines of all various types. Now, if you look at the history, you find that Edward Jenner, who found the vaccines in the year 1796, was a contemporary of the founder of homeopathy, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, who found homeopathy in the year 1792-94. Now, if you look at the very foundation or the principle of vaccination, which is nothing but one which is based on what is called as the law of similars, which is the fundamental law or principle used in homeopathy, which simply says that any substance which has the capacity to produce a set of diseases or set of symptoms also have the capacity to treat the same or similar group of symptoms in a given disease. Jenner started using vaccines against certain infections in those years, and in fact Henneman's idea of homeopathy is an extension of vaccination, because he did not restrict the use of homeopathic medicines only for source from the organisms, but he started using a range of medicinal substances sourced from herbs, plants, animal kingdom, minerals, chemicals, metals, as well as organisms, and he applied these substances in the attenuated form, as it is called in vaccination, while in homeopathy it is called the potentized form, which is a form of attenuation. These substances he used not as a prophylactic, not as a preventive, but largely as a therapeutic. So this is, I would say, an extension. Homeopathy is an extension of the vaccination concept. In fact, we have read that Edward Jenner has written at one point, having said that, I know that vaccination is nothing but a form of homeopathy, or it is based on the homeopathic principle. So in that sense, if you really go to see, most of the pediatricians in the world are using a principle of homeopathy, that is the law of similars, in the form of using vaccines. A recent study in Lancet, in the January 2014 issue of Lancet, carried a study about use of peanut oral immunotherapy, whereby they gave a small amount of peanut protein in a series of children, and found that when small dose of protein was given to kids, which desensitized these children, and they did not produce, many of them, they did not produce the allergy to protein, the peanut protein, in the course of time. This again is nothing but a form of immunotherapy based on the fundamental principle of the law of similars, which is homeopathy. So it shows that homeopathic principle has been in use even in the modern medicine in different forms. On these lines, I would like to talk about use of application of certain chemical or a peptide in the treatment of autism. In fact, autistic children often have been found to show improvement in their symptoms if they are kept away from gluten-free diet. So in other words, it has been found that certain peptides such as what is called as gluten or casein in the form of gluteomorphine or casomorphine, these are the peptides which are found in certain proteins. These have effect on the brain, and whereby they are capable of producing symptoms which are similar to autism or even schizophrenia. In a small study which we carried out at Lifeforce, where we found that potentized or attenuated form of casein or gluteomorphine had some good symptomatic relief in a small sample size of children having autism. So that again proves that the law of similars in the form of homeopathic potentized preparations have definite effect. One more example I would like to give will be that of Mycobacterium tuberculosis organisms. Now, we come across, especially in developing countries and also possibly in poor countries where tuberculosis is rampant, it is so much common, we come across a lot of children having or coming to us with the complaint of frequent upper and lower respiratory tract infections. On evaluating their family history, we have observed that many of these kids have strong family history of tuberculosis. Now, we are not very sure how it affects, but family history of tuberculosis might have possibly some kind of genetic imprint or genetic effect on the kids, whereby these kids may or may not develop tuberculosis, but they would have an inborn susceptibility or a tendency or a proneness to catch upper and lower respiratory tract infections. In these cases, we have observed that attenuated form of homeopathic preparation or a nosode, what is called as tuberculinum, which is sourced from Mycobacterium tuberculosis organisms, this remedy or medicine has been found to be preventive for the range of infections that these kids present with. That again shows that the homeopathic principle, when applied in the form of nosodes, it is found extremely effective. Point number 3, where I would like to say that we know and we have established that homeopathic medicines work. However, the challenge is that we still do not know how homeopathic medicines work. The modus operandi, the mechanism of action of homeopathic medicine is something which we still are not aware about, and that is one of the biggest challenges that homeopathic profession, homeopathic science as on today is facing. There are several theories which talk about the possibilities of the mechanism of homeopathic medicines, such as water memory, that water has memory, this theory. There are some ideas about immunomodulatory effects of homeopathic medicines. There are certain ideas about electromagnetic waves as an effect of homeopathic medicine. But however, this all will require more research, and I am sure in the coming time we will have some more insight into understanding the mechanism of homeopathic medicines. The day when the mechanism of homeopathic medicine will be known, homeopathy will take a high jump in its growth. That's what I personally feel. Point number 4 is that even clinically, homeopathic medicines have been found to be extremely effective for a range of diseases.